Hey guys, I'm Deepthi Desikan, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about makeup products that I have moved on from and sort of like broke up with. So if you like take this makeup in terms of like a relationship, I did like it initially, and then it didn't get better from there on, so I just had to move on because it was not working out. Some products I did really like in the past, and now I don't really like it anymore, and I don't reach out for it at all, and it doesn't seem to impress me as well. I've tried to make it work and I've tried hard, and sometimes it's like you're so naive when you start out, and then eventually you get to see the world and you learn new things and you're a little more aware, and then you get to know that okay, this is not the best. I was not very aware of a lot of makeup products, the products out there and the techniques and everything. So eventually, now that there are better products that are launched and there are newer products that I've been introduced to, these products don't seem to make the cut for me. And also I have used these products so much, it's not like just a couple of uses and then I made up my mind. These are products from like in the past. That's what happens to the best of us. Change is constant. We keep changing, we try to like new things, and we're always trying out new products. And also the reason I've not decluttered these products just yet is because most of the times I have different concepts in my head. Like I make different videos, so sometimes I do need these products again in my collection. If not, I would have decluttered it if I was someone who's sticking to like one genre of videos, like just making like constant kind of videos. But I'm always trying to incorporate all these products into different videos, coming up with different concepts. So sometimes I do need these products and I sometimes do go back to it for that purpose. Yeah, it has happened in the past where I have gotten rid of some makeup and then regretted it because I would have needed it in another concept of mine. So I'm someone, if I buy some makeup, I get the maximum use out of it. I will make sure that I use it to the fullest. Now, with that major big intro, let's get started with the video. Now, the first one I'm going to be talking about is like a primer, which I try to like a lot, but I just cannot get this one to work. This one is a Wet n Wild Photo Focus Dewy Primer. Now, I don't find it to have that dewy finish on the skin. Like if this is supposed to be like a dupe for the Vega backlight primer, that is really nice and it adds a very nice glow to your skin. But this one is a very temporary effect. Like as soon as you like blend it into your skin, you cannot see that glow anymore. And I've tried to mix this in with my foundation as well. I just still don't get to see the effect. And a subscriber recommended that I use this as a highlighter, which is something that looks really natural on the skin for a daily basis. So that is something that I would do probably with this, but because I have so many other highlighters like creamy highlighters, liquid highlighters, I still prefer those over this. The reason I've kept this is for dupes video or like comparison and stuff like that. And then moving on to a couple of foundations. You guys know, I don't know if you guessed that this would be there in this. This is the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless foundation. I used to love this back in the day because the only foundation that I had ever tried was the L'Oreal True Match one, the reformulated one. The original True Match was amazing, and then they reformulated it and there was a new packaging with a pump. That was the only foundation that I had tried in India. And another one was from Dio. The Dio one I really liked, but it got rancid, so I had to get rid of it. But the L'Oreal one I was not very impressed with, so I got this one from Maybelline Fit Me. I was super impressed and I was like, oh my god, this foundation looks so good on me. I like it. I think I found my right shade match, but little did I know about shade match even. So I was not very well aware of that. So I was so proud of the shade match and everything and the way it was looking on my skin. And I remember asking my husband, who was back then my boyfriend, like, how amazing is this foundation on my skin? Isn't it looking so nice? Like so skin-like and stuff. And he was like, but why is it so powdery on your skin, like powder? He of course he doesn't know much about makeup, but he was like, why is it looking so powdery? And I was like, you don't know anything about makeup, man. It looks really nice. This is how makeup looks. And so that was how I thought that makeup looked, and that's how foundation is going to look. I mean, for the price, it's completely justified. It looks really nice, so it's okay. Even if it looks a little bit powdery, so what? Right? Because it's a matte and poreless foundation, so mine being like a normal to dry skin type, I think it's not for me. So of course, a lot of different skin tones might really like it. But eventually, after I started to try out like the PAC HD liquid foundation, which is not too expensive, it is pretty affordable as well, I realized that I was just making myself believe that this is working for my skin. So I wouldn't completely say that this one doesn't work on any skin type at all, because I know people in my family who love this foundation, and this foundation looks really nice. Like my aunt uses the same shade as me, 310, and it looks amazing on her skin. And I have a cousin who still really likes this, always goes back to it. Like she's gone through bottles and bottles of this. So it's again a very subjective thing, but for me it doesn't work. And from the comments on my previous video, like the disappointing foundation video, a lot of people had a lot to say about the Maybelline Fit Me. So it looks like it's not something that works. So in today's video, what I did is I used a concoction of all these 3 foundations on my face. And so if my makeup is not looking the best, it's because of these products, okay? And the next one is the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour Stay Fresh foundation. When this first launched, there were so many reviews about this, and I was so excited about this foundation. I still do really like this, but I don't tend to reach out for it as much. And first of all, I don't think this is my shade. This is in the shade number 140 Golden Beige. So I watched a review online, and that person who reviewed it was my exact skin tone, and she originally recommended 140 Golden Beige, and that's the reason I blindly went ahead and bought 140 Golden Beige online. And then I realized that she moved on to another shade, and I was still stuck with this. So this shade is a little bit light for me. I do really like the finish of this, where sometimes it can actually look really nice and flawless on your skin, and sometimes it can just look really cakey and powdery. So it depends on your skin and the weather condition of that particular day. You can see that I have used about half of this. Like I have just this much of product left, and I would definitely try to use this one up, but I don't find myself reaching for this foundation as much. I have some foundations that even when I'm sitting to film, or even when I'm getting ready to go out or whatever, I have some foundations that I reach out for over so many other foundations. And then another foundation, this is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD foundation. This one is in the shade Y415. So this is a foundation that I have featured in so many videos, all about how disappointing it is. Now some people really like this foundation and they swear by this for special occasions, how it looks on the skin, especially to photograph and stuff like that. But for me, I find it to be a little bit too dry on my skin. The finish of this looks very similar to the Maybelline Fit Me foundation, where it looks a little bit powdery and not so much skin-like, and it does oxidize quite a bit on my skin. I got this one in the shade Y415 thinking it's my exact shade match. I got this actually when I was in Singapore, and that person matched me to this, but this foundation does oxidize. So if you are my skin tone, I think Y405 would be an appropriate match. And the reason I first of all went and tried out a Makeup Forever foundation is because if you guys remember the Makeup Forever HD foundation, not the Ultra HD, the HD foundation, which is discontinued right now, that was amazing and that looked really nice. That looks like skin but better, but I just expected this one to look like that. I didn't have so much time to like wear it around the mall and try it out and stuff like that, so I just bought it in a whiff and I was leaving that country anyways. So that's the reason I got this. This is a very pricey foundation, so just be aware of that. And because it is expensive, I don't have the heart to declutter it. I try to use it up, and because it's a little bit darker, so I try to mix it in with my lighter dewy foundations just to get it to my right shade match. And then a concealer which I used to love so much, and I have almost like run out of it. This is the L'Oreal True Match Concealer. You don't get it in this packaging anymore. They have switched out the packaging. I used to like this because it's almost like skin-like, but it doesn't give you a lot of coverage. So back in the day, like I was younger as well, so it looked really nice on my under eye area and around my mouth to mask up the pigmentation and stuff. But over time, I feel like I need something with a little more coverage and something that doesn't slip away easily underneath my eyes as well. So that's the reason I have kind of stopped using these concealers. And especially for a person like me who tries out a lot of products and tests out a lot of products, I cannot usually stick on to like one particular product for a really long time. But I still do have some OG favorites. Like I have my NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer that if I run out of that, I will definitely repurchase. I like my Tarte Shape Tape. The Sugar Concealer, that is my recent discovery, which I really like from the affordable range as well. And the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind in the shade Caramel is working for me. I mean, that's not really great in terms of coverage, but these are some newer finds that I've started to like a lot more. And the MAC Prolong Wear, LA Girl HD. So these work a lot better for me, in my opinion, than the L'Oreal True Match. But this was a pretty good concealer. It's just that I don't tend to reach out for it as much. And I had kept this one just in case I had to like do a full face of L'Oreal someday or something like that. But ever since I found this L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer, I have been using this a lot more and I've been loving this. And then another like contour product. This one is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Contouring Palette. This one is in the shade Dulce de Leche. Now this one is completely my fault. I should have got the shade Caramel Toffee, but back then when I got it, Wet n Wild was not even available in India. This one, it is a good product for people who are of a lighter skin tone than I am, and it's like super finely milled. You can use this side of it to set underneath your eyes or anywhere around your face, and this one to contour. But for me, I don't really like to use this kind of shade to sculpt out my cheekbone. I don't really need it, so I prefer something a little more warm tone to bronze, but not so much to contour my face. But again, it's not the product's fault, it's just that my preference has changed over time and I don't find any use out of it as much. But I have a dupes video coming up where I might be featuring this, so that's the reason I have kept that still in my collection. And then moving on to some blush products. This one is the Wet n Wild Color Icon blush. This is in the shade Apricot in the middle. Now this one originally I never liked, okay, but I was trying to get maximum use out of it, so I used to use it in my videos. So I used to substitute this for like highlighter as well. So I used to just apply it on my cheek as a blush cum highlighter, so because it has a lot of like sheen to it, and I'm not someone who really likes these kind of products on myself because it can emphasize the texture on your skin. So highlighter, you're just applying it only on this part, so there's a little bit of texture that is emphasized, but this kind of shimmery blush, you're applying it all over your cheek, so it just emphasizes pores, texture, makes your skin look a little bit dull and dehydrated. So kind of not been using this product. I think for the longest time I've stopped using it. And then another product that I used to really like, but I've kind of again not reached out for it as much. This one is the YBP color cream. This one is in the shade Goddess. Now I used to love this, okay. The product itself is really nice and it's so finely milled and it works really nice as a natural highlighter. I really like it. There's no glitter particles to it. But what I feel like kept me away from using this is because over time it actually dries down in the tube and it's very difficult to squeeze the product out. So that's a complaint that I received a lot about this particular product. Like every time I used to mention this, a lot of people mentioned that it was drying down in the tube, and that time it was not like that for me. It was not in that consistency, but over time I can see that it's kind of dried down, and there's still a little bit of product, but I'm not getting the maximum use out of it because of that. There are a lot of liquid highlighters that I have that are even older to this, but those haven't dried down in the tube. And the other one is the color cream in the shade Riche. So this is like a liquid blush. Now this is not pertaining to this particular product in general, but I think I've moved on from this liquid blushes because I find that I need to blend it a lot more, and sometimes even a little bit, like even if I squeeze the tiniest amount, there's a lot of product that is squeezed out. So I try to get the maximum use out of it so that I don't waste it, and then I end up going overboard with the blush. Right now, today on my cheeks as well, I mean, I have all these products demoed in today's video, but this is the blush I have on my cheeks as well, and like I had to take some time to get it to blend. I was so careful to squeeze just the right amount of product, but I still ended up getting a lot of products. So again, taking that time, and if you're in a hurry, again, it's not my favorite, but the look is really nice. It gives you that dewy finish and it lasts for a decent amount of time, and I have got a lot of people even in my like close circle hooked onto this. But I've off late been reaching out a lot more towards like powder blushes, matte blushes. And then moving on to some highlighters. This one is the Makeup Revolution Shimmer Brick. This one is in the variant Radiant. I don't know how many of you remember this. If you do remember, I think you're like an OG subscriber, so yay, thank you for sticking around. But yeah, this one I have used so much. You guys can see there's actually a big dent on this product, and I think I'll be hitting pan on this very soon. But after I have found out a lot of like very natural looking highlighters, not so shimmery, dry looking highlighters, a little more wet looking highlighters, I have stopped using this that much. It is still really nice if you want to use it with a very light hand like I have today. But you know, preferences change over time, and I'm not calling this a bad product. It's pretty good for the price, and you can like customize it according to the shade and everything. But I've just kind of like not used it as much. And another product that I initially thought I really liked, but of late I'm really not that much into it. This is a Maybelline Master Chrome highlighter, and this one is in the shade Rose Gold. I still use Molten Gold. I love that highlighter. But the Rose Gold one, I feel like the formula is a lot different from the other one. I feel like this is a little bit more dry in consistency, so it looks like it's a little bit dry even in the pan and even on your face, and it can emphasize a little more texture because it looks a little bit dry on the skin. And again, I feel like the shade is pretty okay for my skin tone, but I would prefer something a little bit gold and warm. And then moving on to some eyeshadow palettes. This one is the Colourpop Kathleen Lights collaboration, and this one is called Where the Night Is. So this is like that super shock eyeshadow where you get this kind of a thing from Colourpop. This was all the rage, I think, about 2 years ago. Initially, I did really like it because I was very amused with the kind of consistency it has. It has like that squishy mousse cushion-like consistency, which I really like. But over time, they do dry down and they don't really have that pop that they had initially. It's what I have on my eye. You guys can see, you can't really see the sheen as much. So they do dry down completely, and the shimmer shades are pretty okay. The matte ones, I do have a couple of matte shades from this. Oh my god, they're so dry. You don't get the blend, and every time I used to use it, people used to think I don't really know how to apply eyeshadow, and they used to be like, why don't you watch so and so's tutorial to learn how to get a proper eye look, because your eye look looks that bad. It was because I was trying to experiment with these and they wouldn't blend at all. At least this, you can use it with your fingers, but what do you do with the matte shades? They don't pick up well on the brush. And even if they do, they don't really blend well on the eyes. So I kind of like stopped using those matte eyeshadows, and that is for me money gone down the drain, because I really can't get myself to reach out for it or to use it. This one, I used to use it at least up until last year or the year before that, but after I found liquid eyeshadows like the Swiss Beauty liquid eyeshadow and everything, just stopped using this, and I don't find them to pop as much. And another product that I don't really get the point of why I bought this. This one is the K Beauty metallic eyeshadow. This one is in the shade Bare Metal. They are very light. They don't have that pop of shimmer on your eye, and they just look very subtle. So if you are someone who likes that on yourself, then yes, well, good. But for me, these eyeshadow crayons in general itself, they don't really do anything. They just vanish. Like, they just blend into your skin tone most of the times. They don't pop as much. They kind of like crease a lot or split on your eye sometimes, and they're like bald spots on your eye. So this is what I first initially applied it, and then I topped it off with the Colourpop eyeshadow, and I still don't find it to be popping on my eyes like as much. It's very subtle. So it's like a combination of two products, and it still hasn't worked. So for that reason, I don't think I will be buying any more like eyeshadow sticks. And then another eyeshadow palette which I do use like for tutorials, and if I had to do like a Maybelline one brand tutorial, because this is the only eyeshadow from Maybelline that I have. This one is their City Mini palettes, and this one is in the shade Rooftop Bronzes. I remember Tati reviewing these eyeshadow palettes, and she was really liking it, so I bought it, I think based off of her recommendation. And this is what the color scheme looks like. Like, some shades are okay, like this gold here, it does like have a little bit of pop, and this is okay, but the other shades sort of like blend into each other, so you can't create like a very distinctive eyeshadow look out of this one particular palette. So I think eyeshadow palettes is something that Maybelline lacks, and they have the potential and the resources to formulate some better eyeshadow palettes. I don't know why it's still like in the process for them, and they haven't come up with something like that. So just this one particular eyeshadow is okay, and that's the only shade that I tend to use a lot more, because that's the only thing that stands out. The rest just blends into one on the eyes, and they don't pop as much. And then this Wet n Wild Photo Focus Primer Water. I got this to compare this to the Smashbox Primer Water, and I think even in that video I mentioned that I still like the Smashbox Primer Water. It's not very expensive, the travel size, it's for 990 rupees, and that one is really nice. It does kind of hydrate your skin to an extent, and then sets your makeup pretty well as well. It takes off all that cakiness and powderiness. This one does that, but I find it to have a very bad scent, like not a very pleasant scent. It's like something has gone bad. and like a fermented scent. I don't really like that. And also, if it gets into your eye, even by mistake, like it happened to me today, it burns a lot. I think it has a high content of alcohol in this. And yeah, this one is not very cheap as well. Like you get 50 ml of product for 450 rupees, but the scent and the overall experience, I don't really like this that much anymore. I think I do have quite a lot of product left. So what I do is, with these kind of setting sprays, when I want to, when I'm at my desk and I'm doing my makeup, but I'm really lazy to get up and go wet my sponge, that's the only time I used to use this, just to get my blender a little wet so that I can get the final blend, just to blend all the products together, not just to apply foundation, like not to soak it wet, but just to get it a little bit wet, just to blend like my highlighter, blush. While speaking about beauty sponges, I was that person who used to swear by only sponges. I have so many sponges still in my collection. It's not that I've completely stopped using them, but I find that they are not very practical. Like every time you have to use it, you have to go wet it and come. So when you have the time to get ready, it's really nice. But otherwise, just like on the go brushes work for me just as fine. And even when you want a little more coverage or something, brushes do work. And also, storing a sponge is a little bit difficult in my opinion, and washing it as well. Like you can't store it inside your drawers when it's wet, so it's going to get some mold on it, and you have to like wash it quite regularly. Like even brushes you have to wash often, but this one has to be quite regular. So I wash this before every use, just because I don't want to risk it with my skin. And it's kind of difficult to get rid of the foundation on the sponge as well. Like it's permanently stained in my opinion. So yeah, another tool that I like, if this was not there, I couldn't do my makeup back in the day. This one is the Vega Eyelash Curler. But off late, I don't really find the need to curl my lashes. I just use mascara. I mean, if it's going to look fine, let it look fine. Otherwise, it's okay. I can deal with it. It is a pretty good tool. It's pretty effective. Like you can curl your lashes and then apply mascara to have a more distinct effect. Yeah, sometimes I just, kind of squeeze my skin along with it and then be like, what a mistake. So kind of stopped using that. And then the last two products that I have been talking for quite some time now, I need to stop. So lip products. This one is the Revlon Colorburst Matte Balm in this shade Shameless. This is a straight up purple shade, and there was a phase where I used to wear this to class, I used to wear this anywhere I go out. I didn't care. People used to give me those looks like, and I used to be like, I'm so confident. I don't care. I really like the shade, and I used to like how bold it was and out of the blue it was. But of late, I don't find myself reaching for it, and I feel like it's over time it did change as well. It was not as pigmented as I first got it. So after a couple of uses, it started to get a little bit sheer. So this kind of a shade with a little bit of your pigmentation peeking through is not the best look. And it also has kind of like some duochrome effect, like some other shade as well peeks through your lips. So that's the reason I stopped using this. I will hold on to this for like some remembrance, because I remember I was in a very bad space in my life. I lost my father, who was like so near and dear to me. After that, after a week, I had to be somewhere, and that's when I started wearing these kind of shades. And I think I was in a different mind space back then even, so I didn't even care. And I always remember this lipstick and I associate it with that time where I was trying to come out of that sorrow, and I was trying to get back to normal life after losing someone so special and so near and dear, and he was everything to me. So that's the reason I'll still hold on to this. And then this one is the L'Oreal Color Riche lipstick. This one is in the shade Arabian Night. I still did use this quite a lot. You guys can see I have used up quite a lot of this. And it's like a very dark blackened berry shade, and the problem with this is that it's not very pigmented. If it was very pigmented and didn't have so much of a sheen, it would look a lot better, but because of that sheen, it doesn't really look that nice. So there's this breaking point in your life where you realize, okay, yeah, this product is not really looking that good. So I did use it up until then, and then realized that, okay, fine, I have so many other shades that I really like. There's a similar shade of sugar lipstick that looks just like this. I'm not very sure. Is it called I think it's called Helen. That looks so much better. It's has a lot less sheen to it, and it is a lot more pigmented. So I wear that a lot more these days. So, but yeah, anyways, I am planning to do like a purple deep plum lipstick swatch video. So I have kept these just to include in that. So that'll be like a swatch book in case anybody wants to see, in case anyone wants to draw reference. I'm not sure if this L'Oreal lipstick is still available, but just in case. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope this was like a good rewind for you guys as well. Let me know if you still love these products or have you moved on from it as well, and let me know what other products you used to love a lot and then broke up with and moved on from. So yeah, if you still do like these products, stick to using them. Just because I don't really like it doesn't mean you have to stop using it, and doesn't mean these are bad products. It's just we are different people and preferences change over time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.